everyone, Tina here. I hope you're having a wonderful day. I'm so glad you're joining me. Well, today I get to share with you the brand new card kit from Simon Says Stamp for April 2025. It's called Butterfly Blossoms. I have it here. I took it out of the bag and out of the box, and we're going to go over everything that's in the kit, and then we're going to create some real pretty sunshiny cards today. First off, we get 2 sheets of 8.5 by 11 cardstock. This is Honey, and it's Simon's brand, a heavy weight. It's 100-pound weight. And then we also get a sheet of Nina Solar White 110-pound cardstock. Great for card bases, great for stamping. We get a full sheet of this. The stamp set this month is named after our kit, Butterfly Blossoms, and you get some beautiful blooms and butterflies, of course. The greetings in here are lovely. And you'll notice on the stamp set that they're all indexed. They're indexed because Simon has included a stencil set to go with it. The stencil set will color in all of the images and the butterflies. Let me show you. It is sectioned off. For example, this says B5, this butterfly. So you'd look on your stamp set for B5, which would be this one. And then all you do is line it up and color it in. Makes it so easy. And it goes for the blooms too. So Simon included a 6x6 stencil set to go with the 6x8 stamp set. That's included in our kit. You get one A2 craft envelope. There's also 6 6x6 pieces of pattern paper. These are from Paper Rose. They're called Bees and Butterflies. Double-sided pattern papers. One of them's a cut apart here. This is the reverse side. Okay, and then we get some collage paper. This is Tim Holtz Ideology collage paper. There's multiples of each set. I believe there's 2 of each set. They're examples that the collage paper is like printed tissue paper. It's very thin, super fun to play with. We'll be using some of these on our cards today. Also included is a bottle of Distress Collage Media Matte. Next up, we get 6 washi tapes. These are from Simple Stories. It's called the Color Palette Warm, and you can see there's 2 shades of pink, a orange, a red, a yellow, and then this one I would say is maybe a green or a taupe or a tan. So all of these washi tapes are included in our kit. We're going to actually be using washi tapes on our card today. And then lastly, included in our kit is some Distress texture paste sparkle. Now this is a 3-ounce jar from my stash. I already had one open. The kit will actually come with a 1-ounce jar. Okay, you can see the size difference, but I'm going to be using the one that I have open today. So if you're wondering how come my jar is bigger than yours, it's because I already had one in my stash. Okay, so that's also included in our kit. So that's the kit contents this month. Kind of a vintage kind of a feel. We're going to incorporate washi tape and then some of the collage paper, and we're going to jump in and get started. We're going to actually stamp several sets of butterflies on vellum. So I treated my paper with my anti-static powder tool, and we're going to start with B5. I get to tell you the names of the butterflies, but this is B5, and I'm going to stamp a couple of these. We'll stamp a couple of B2s. We're going to stamp a couple of B3s. And then we have one side profile butterfly, which is B1. I'm going to stamp this also. I'm going to bring in some white embossing powder, and I'll go over my butterfly images here. And then we'll use our heat gun and I'll melt it. And those are our butterflies. Now I'm going to bring my sparkle paste in. And our stencil set, let me show you. You can actually go over our butterflies And let me bring in a palette knife. And you can add some sparkle paste. Now we're going over vellum. What I'm going to do is do one at a time, because of course you can't overlap with the stencil, but I can set this aside. And you can see the moisture content is kind of curling my vellum, and that's okay. We're just going to add a little bit of extra flutter to our butterflies. And we're going to go over the rest here. Texture Paste Sparkle is very, very soft, and it's literally like a really soft butter or face cream, but I don't advise you putting it on your face. Okay, and then we have this stencil. They're all sectioned off and indexed, which makes it really nice. I'm actually going to trim these out. I'm actually just going to trim all of these out just to make it easier here. We're going to go ahead and continue, and we will add some sparkle paste to all of our butterflies right over the vellum. So all my butterflies are done, and this does take a little bit of time to dry. So I'm going to put these to the side where I won't bump them. And then eventually I will fussy cut these out once they're dry. I'm pretty sure Slimin does have a coordinating die set, and if they do, I'll link it down below. But you can see how the paper, the vellum is, depending on what vellum you use. You can use a heavyweight vellum. I chose a lighter weight because I kind of like the way it curls up, and I want a real softness to my card. Okay, while those are drying, now we're going to work on our first card. I have my stitched rectangle dies here. And what we're going to do is take one. I'm going to cut out a panel with our honey cardstock. Okay, and then I'll take another piece of white cardstock, and I'm going to cut out a smaller panel. We're going to do some stamping on here. So I have two panels cut out that will layer together. Let me show you, like this, just leaving me a little bit of a border. Okay, and then I have some of our collage paper. We're going to go ahead and add this to some white cardstock. Now you can do this two ways. You can actually use the Collage Media Matte, use a sponge dauber, a sponge. You could use a paintbrush, add it all over the back here, and kind of spread it out really thin. And then you can add your paper. Okay, I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to do is use my Simon Says Stamp Craft glue stick. To me, this is just quicker, less messy. And since I have it on hand, we're just going to go ahead and cover the entire back with this. It's super smooth, and it works great with thin tissue papers, which is basically what this is, just printed tissue paper. Now I'm going to add this to my A2 panel. If you have any wrinkles, for example here, you can leave them. It adds character, or you can kind of work them out on your background panel. But you see how it just sticks beautifully? Okay, I'm going to take this, and I'm going to use my paper trimmer and trim off everything that's overhanging, and then I'll place this on my card base. The collage paper would make actually great note cards too. I just love this. So that is the front of our card. Now with my smaller panel, we're going to do some stamping using one of the florals. And I'm really liking this one here, which is F2. So I'll place this on an acrylic block. And I'm using my Memento ink. And then I'm going to stamp my floral. We're going to stamp this so it's overhanging on the bottom here to the left. Okay. How pretty that image is. Isn't that just gorgeous? Look at, I think if you were to use some black and white, I think that'd make a real pretty note card set too. Now to color in our image, we just take our stencil here and we're going to line it up. I'm not even going to bring in my grip mat. Once we have this lined up, I'm going to bring in some inks. I have 3 ink cubes here. I'm going to use a light yellow, and then we're going to use a detail brush here. And I'm going to go over my flowers with the light yellow. And then I have a darker yellow that we're going to do some highlighting with, just on the edges. Lovely. And then we have our green. We're going to go over our leaves. I don't want to go too heavy over the green leaves because we're going to stamp our greeting right over that. Okay, so we'll put these to the side. And then we'll remove our stencil. And look how pretty that is, all colored in. Okay, I'm going to bring in our stamp set once more, and this time we're going to stamp our greeting. And I think I want to stamp happy birthday. We'll make a birthday card. I want my greeting to be nice and bold, so I'm using my VersaFine Clair Nocturne ink from Simon. And we will ink up happy birthday. And I'm going to stamp directly over my florals, centering it. And that is our panel. Okay, we're going to bring in our washi tape next. And for today, let's see. I know I want to use the yellow today. All my cards today are going to be yellow. Let me see this one. This one has a little more green tones in it, and I think for this card, let me see. I think we'll use the yellow one for this card. Now what we're going to do with the washi is just go around the border of this panel here. And you could trim it off with scissors, or you could just wrap it around. And then I'm going to go around all 4 sides. Before I add this panel, I am going to bring in some white twine. I'm going to wrap it around a couple of times, and I'm going to tie a bow off to the left. And then we can add our panel, just centering it. Lovely. Now my butterflies were almost dry. I went ahead and fussy cut them out. And again, Simon probably does have a coordinating die set, but it's clear, and then there's a little bit of sparkle, gold sparkle in there. They're so pretty. This one has a little clump here that still needs to dry. Let me see. But it does have that shine. I'm going to flip these over, and I'm going to put a thin foam strip behind the body of each one of these. And I chose to, if you wanted to even color these in, you could with that stencil, but I chose to keep them white because with black, it's such a bold color. I think if you were to add just a little bit of white, it softens it. We'll add a couple of butterflies here, and then we're going to bring in some sequins. Today I'm using Simon Says Stamps sequins. These are Zest, and I'm just going to add a few yellow sequins. For my flower centers, I'm bringing in some of my gold stickles, and we're just going to add a little bit of gold to the flower centers here. And that will finish off my first card. For my next card, I embossed the background. Really, any embossing folder you have would work. This one is Simon's Pinnacle Hearts embossing folder. And I trimmed down a panel that was just slightly smaller than my card base. And I just embossed it with white cardstock. We're going to go ahead and adhere this. So our background's done here. Now I'm going to use some pattern paper for this card. The reverse side has this beautiful floral. I'm going to trim this down to a, let's see, let's go a 3-inch wide, and then I'm going to trim it at 3 3/4. Okay, I'm going to take that piece that we trimmed off from the top, and I'm actually going to flip it around and put it on the bottom. Okay, I'm going to put this to the side, and then with this panel, I think I'm going to trim a little bit more off the top here. So let's trim, we'll trim a little bit off the top so it'll center more on our card base. I think that's going to work out better. Okay, and then we have a 1/2-inch strip of the lattice style pattern paper, and then I have a 1/2-inch strip of white cardstock that I just layered my washi tape over. Now this washi tape is the more green one, not the yellow that we used in the first card, but this is the more tan, and it's the one that has the daisy on it. If you open it up and see the daisy, that's the washi tape that I'm using. I just stuck it to a piece of cardstock. Okay, I am going to adhere this to the bottom here, but before we do that, I'm going to stamp my greeting on a circle die. I'm going to stamp Missing You. I'm going to use my Nocturne ink here. I'm going to stamp it towards the top of the circle here. Wonderful. I'm going to use my scissors, trim off the bottom here. You don't need too much off of the bottom. And then I'm going to add this to my panel here. And I'm going to add it to where the G is almost to the edge. So it's overhanging a little bit, and that's okay. And then I'm going to take my pattern paper. We're going to add some adhesive behind here. And then I'm going to layer this over the seam. And then I'll take my washi border that we created, and we're going to add this along the bottom. Anything overhanging, we're going to trim off. There's a bit over here, and then over here. And then I'm going to bring back some of that white twine, and I'm going to go around the seam here where the washi and the pattern paper meet. I'm going to wrap it around a couple of times, and I'll tie a bow. Now we have a little texture on our card. Now I like texture with the twine. Now I know some people don't like to do that. So you know what I suggest is taking, let me show you an alternative. Okay, would be to, you could use white cardstock, cut a thin strip with any color cardstock, and then last month, if you are a kit subscriber, you can use the pretty bows. Okay, I just cut mine out with yellow cardstock, and you could go over the seam and then add the pretty bow here as an alternative if you wanted to. If you don't like all that texture, you can create a bow with this, and you can do that with our first card also. Okay, that's another alternative in case you don't, I know a lot of people are not good at tying bows, so that's an alternative. Simon made it easy using the pretty bows from last month. Okay, so this is our panel. What I'm going to do is bring in a corner rounder. I'm going to round these corners here. Okay, and then this is going to go directly in the center of my card, but I am going to pop it up with foam tape. And then we have our butterflies, and you can see it's hard to tell on camera, but it dried clear, and you can see those little gold flakes that are in the inside that sparkle paste. So pretty. I'm going to add just a few butterflies on this card too. Now for this card, I'm going to use some of my rainbow gems. I'm going to use some of the yellow ones, and I'm going to add them to my butterfly centers. We're going to add a little sparkle on the butterfly bodies here. And that will finish off card number 2. Okay, we're going to move along to our final card today. Now our final card for my final card, we're going to bring back my rectangle die set, and I'm going to create, oh actually let's not do that. Okay, for my final card, we're going to create an entire background with washi tape, and I'm going to use the yellow. And I'm going to go at an angle, so what we're going to do is just add washi tape on this panel. Overlapping it, we're going to create an entire background panel with this. And I don't want any white showing, so I'm going to try and overlap it just slightly. And I'm using the yellow today, but you could use any color washi to do the same thing. Okay, let's see if I can cover this. I have a little spot over here, but no worries. We'll just add another piece of washi. And let's see if we can fit this in here. Maybe one more in this corner. Wonderful. Okay, so I'm going to line this up, but I'm also going to bring in a heart die. The one that I'm using are the rounded hearts, the nested rounded hearts from Simon. And I want to create a heart. I could do another panel with the washi if I wanted to, but I'm going to actually cheat a little bit. We're going to flip this around, and I'm going to add it to the middle. And I'll just tape this down, and then we will run this through the die cut machine. Actually, I want to straighten it out a little bit. Now I'm going at a diagonal, but you don't have to go on a diagonal. You could go straight vertical, horizontal, but I kind of like the diagonal pattern. So I'm going to run this through my die cut machine, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I ran it through my die cut machine, and so now we have a heart, and I also die cut out a slightly larger heart with white cardstock. Okay. We'll just pop this out, and then we have a nice little background panel. Okay, before I put this together, I do want to take one of my collage papers. This is my card base. I'm going to directly adhere it to the front of my card base. So I want to make sure I get those corners with my glue stick here. We'll go over the front of my card base. Whoops. And then, just to make things easier, I'm going to add it all the way to the top here. Give it a good press. And then I'm just going to use my scissors and trim around with that collage paper. I just love the way this looks. Okay, I'm going to take my panel now. We're going to add some adhesive behind here. For this, I'm going to use my tape runner. And we're going to place this right in the middle. So I'll take my washi heart. We're going to add some adhesive behind here, and then I'm going to tack this down to my white heart right in the center. And then I did put foam tape behind here, right over the heart that we cut out, and you will never know that we cut that out on purpose. But the pattern is actually continuous too, which makes it really neat. Okay, I did stamp my sentiment that says thinking of you, and I fussy cut it out. And I'm going to place this right in the middle of my heart here. And then we have our last two butterflies that I did put foam tape behind the body. And we're going to add let me see. We'll add a couple here, right above and below our sentiment. Okay, I'm going to bring back my yellow gems and we're going to fill in some butterfly bodies with some gems. For these, I think I used 3 and 2. So cute. And that will finish off that card. So now we're going to take a look at all 3 cards that we made today with the Simon Says stamp April 2025 card kit. It's called Butterfly Blossoms. And I think I'm going to add, I have a couple more yellow gems that I think I'm going to add to the butterflies here. I always just like to add gems to the butterfly bodies here. And the washi tape, we used yellow today. I did practice on some red. I think the red would be really pretty too. Kind of looks like strawberries. Nice and spring colors. But just switch out the colors for the color of washi tape that you have. The orange, the red. But I hope this gives you a little bit of inspiration with the kit. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a wonderful day, and we will see you soon. Bye-bye. Thanks so much for sticking with me to the end. I have 2 more videos that you guys might be interested here. If you guys are new and like the content that you see, click that subscribe button and also the notification bell. That way for future videos, be notified. Also, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. It sure does help the channel. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.